Right, hello lads and lasses, and welcome back to Boys Down Under, where today we have got a bunch of rather small stories to cover rather than just one big story to talk about. We're going around the news with Celtic. So before we get into the video, please remember to like the video and subscribe to the channel. It's the best way to help support the channel grow, and I would be so very appreciative if you guys did that. But without further ado, let's get into it. So in no particular order, let's start with David Turnbull. Now, obviously, as we're all aware, Turnbull went down injured in the 30-ish so minute mark in the League Cup final, clutching at his hamstring. And afterwards, you could say he was distressed. You know, he went off really upset and he was in tears in the stands. He was not happy at all. He was really, really upset, and it's understandably so because David Turnbull has never suffered a muscle injury before in his career ever. He's never had a serious injury done to his muscles, and it's really unexpected, and it can only be put down to the fact that Celtic's fixture congestion was through the roof. Ange said after the game, the amount of games Celtic had played up until that point in such a tight space is cruelty on the players. You know, their bodies cannot put up with it, and it's clear in Celtic's squad that it's happening. All the hamstring injuries, all the muscle injuries, it's not good for the footballer's body. And at first, everyone thought, you know, it's going to be a generic hamstring injury. He's going to be out for a month or so. He'll be back after the winter break. However, a new report by the Scotsman has stated that Turnbull will in fact miss 2 months of football, which means it's much more likely that he has slightly torn his hamstring rather than strained it. So that's a grade 2 tear. A grade 1 is a strain. Grade 2 is a slight tear, and a grade 3 is a full tear. So Turnbull is, from what I'm hearing, it's expected Turnbull has slightly torn his hamstring. But it is a major blow for Celtic because 2 months of action will see him miss not only the derby, but also he will most likely miss the both home and away fixtures of the knockout round matches against bhoydownunder in the UEFA Conference League round of 32. However, it isn't the end of the world. You know, it is a major blow, but something I always stress on this channel is nothing is ever the end of the world. You know, Celtic have been heavily linked with Rio Hatate, Yusuke Ideguchi, both of which are more than capable of playing as box-to-box midfielders. You've also got the Israeli enigma in Nir Baton, who can play CDM, and then that pushes Kalmak up to box-to-box centre mid role. So we have options. By no means is Celtic in the mud here. However, if we do fail to bring in, you know, both Yusuke and Rio in January, it's certainly, and not only just then, if we fail to bring in any players who could play that midfield role, it could see us in a bit of a pickle. However, Ange is much smarter than that. He knows if the deals do fall through for both Rio Hatate and Yusuke Ideguchi, he will know where to look to find a suitable replacement. Speaking of players who will arrive in January, Daizen Maeda. Daizen bloody Maeda. Probably the most exciting transfer of the three, and he is probably the closest to arriving at Celtic. Allegedly, the Daily Record is reporting that he is now in London in order to complete a medical ahead of his move to Celtic. The report also goes on to say that Rio and Yusuke are also set to arrive on Tuesday, which is today for me, but it'd be Tuesday in London and Glasgow, which is when you guys are watching this, when this video is probably out. So, personally, I think taking the news with a grain of salt. It's the Daily Record, of course. They're always looking for a great rumor or a great, you know, look, they just want to stir the pot or find a rumor to set up the rumor mill, you know. But the thing is, rumors have to sprout from somewhere. You know, they can't be just made out of nowhere. There has to be some truth behind them. And what it could mean is that a deal for a medical is set to go ahead for all three players. Maybe not in London. Maybe they've got it going in Japan. I don't know. I'm just speculating, but I think it's safe to say that all of these deals are still going ahead. I think it's news that maybe isn't completely factual, but there is some truth behind it. Look, it's very promising that I think all these deals are now in the final stages because we need them desperately, and it's imperative that we bring them in early in the transfer window, so we give them, you know, over 2 weeks because they've had a break now to gain back their fitness, to get to know the squad, get to know the playing style. Something Daizen Maeda probably doesn't have to do as much because he did play under Edge at Yokohama F. Marinos. However, for players like Yusuke Itaguchi and Ryo Hatate, they will certainly have to start adapting to Ange's style of football. But they're both class footballers. I don't think it will take them very long at all. But they could be stripped away from us. Those three players plus Kyogo could all be stripped of us at one of the most crucial points of the season. So there were reports a while back that due to the Omicron strain running rampant in Japan, the Japanese Football Association would only take domestic-based players for the national team for their upcoming World Cup qualifiers from the 27th of January to 1st of February. There has been an update, however, so that the FA have confirmed they will only pick domestic players for the friendly on the 21st of January, which means if we do bring in all those three and Kyogo, we'll have them back in time for the restart. However, the technical director of the FA have confirmed that they will seek special dispensation from the government, the Japanese government that is, to bring in players abroad for the World Cup qualifiers, citing how Japan are, struggling in the World Cup qualifiers and are in desperate need of qualification. If successful, it means Kyogo and all the other Japanese players that Celtic may have at the club they will miss from probably the 26th or 25th of January up until the 3rd of January, 3rd of February, which effectively rules them out of 3 matches. It rules them out of the Hearts game away from home, which is crucial to our season, the Dundee United game at home, which is crucial, but not as crucial. Then also the Glasgow Derby, which is the most imperative match, the most crucial, the most significant match of the season. And look, obviously, if the Omicron strain gets worse in Japan, which the trends suggest they do, I'm no scientist, however, the trends are suggesting that, it could see the move be blocked by the Japanese government. However, Japanese footballing is a big part of their culture. And I can certainly see the government approving these foreign players, not only Celtic players, but foreign players such as Tomiyasu, Ito, who plays in Belgium, to come back to Japan to play these World Cup qualifiers. Be a massive blow for Celtic if we manage to sign all 3 Japanese players, plus Kyogo have missed that. And also on top of that, Tom Rogic would be out because he would go and play for the Australian national team if called up by Graham Arnold. That would also be an absolutely massive blow to Celtic, having him miss all 3 matches, you'd like to think that the players would choose club over country. However, I don't see that happening, and I see there being serious repercussions if they do so. But Celtic and Ange are really helpless if each player is picked, and we certainly could be in a very sticky situation come January the 3rd. However, the last bit of news to cover, and is some quick news on one player returning from injury, Georgios Giacomakis, someone who's only made a mere 8 appearances for Celtic this season, 2 of which were starts. And that has been since his arrival in August. So September, October, November, December. That's 4 full months, and he's only played 8 games. Now, obviously, that doesn't tell the full story. He has been marred by injuries and fitness issues, very unlucky with those. But the news from Edge is that he is back in training after problems with his knee. I think he had to get minor knee surgery. However, he was awfully close to playing against St. Johnstone. Edge said, however, I'm saying however a lot, but he just wasn't there yet. It's a situation where he's already risking Kyogo. He doesn't want to risk Giacomakis as well, but he will be 100% available after the winter break, assuming he avoids further setbacks. So as long as he's done his rehab, as long as he can train well, he's got 3 weeks now to get ready, get up to full fitness. So that is hopefully going to go well for him. Look, a lot of people aren't very keen and aren't very fond of Giacomakis, especially after the Livingston match where, he missed the match-winning penalty. However, I still have really big hopes for him. I want to see him succeed. Plus, you know, he's a valuable player to have in the squad. He's certainly offers a very different dynamic to Kyogo. He's very much a target man, a poacher man. You know, obviously Kyogo is 100 times better. Kyogo's movement just suits Celtic's playstyle so much better. I'm dying here, lads. Please forgive me, but Giacomarcus is certainly someone who can offer a whole different landscape and dynamic to Celtic's playing style, and certainly someone who would work very well in a two-striker formation with Kyogo next to him. A lot of options, but certainly I still have high hopes for Giacomarcus. I think he can still be a real great player for Celtic, even if it is only coming off the bench. I think he's a valuable player to have in the squad, and I want him to succeed. But that is all from me. So remember to like the video, subscribe to the channel. The content will not stop here. Drop in the comments below what kind of videos you want to see from me. I'm sort of running out of ideas, but I've got some ideas still, but I want to hear what you guys want to watch, because it always turns out that my best videos are actually the ones you suggest. So leave it in the comments below, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and until next time, hail, hail.